Hey there, disc golfers. Been under the weather the past few days, but that's not going to keep us from just chugging along here. We've got another awesome underground interview for you as Wes sits down with Max Nichols and talks about a little bit of his 2019 plans and some of the awesome Lefty stuff. And make sure you stay tuned to the middle of the video as Wes has another awesome giveaway to do.
What up, disc golfers? Team Stamp Wes, captain of the Discraft Underground team. Pat is feeling a little under the weather, so I am going to take over on this underground interview, and I'm really excited. We're bringing a West Coast lefty to the underground interviews. We got Mr. Max Nichols. How you doing today, Max?
Doing great, Wes. How are you doing?
I am, like most of this winter, just trying to stay warm over in this crazy polar vortex.
Well, it's 75 degrees here, so.
Oh my gosh, I wish. We're supposed to get negative 12 tonight.
Oh my gosh, no thanks.
Yeah. I know, you're living a good life over there. So we'll start off with having you tell us a little bit about where you're from. Obviously, we talked about the West Coast a little bit, and talk just kind of about the last couple of seasons that you played.
Okay, yeah, so I'm from San Diego, California. I've lived here all my life. I love it. As I said before, the weather's just perfect. It's mostly 75 degrees almost all of January. So it makes playing disc golf year-round pretty easy. Last couple seasons, 2017, 2018, I played, I want to say 15 events per year, so about 30 total. I had a couple wins in 2017. They were both B tiers, I think. Couple good finishes at the USDGC. And other than that, I didn't have very good years, I guess, in the Pro Tours and Worlds and National Tours. So that's kind of something I'm going to be focusing on more in 2019 is my performance at those events. I'm going to try and get there a few days earlier than I normally would, get some good practice in, and just get a feel for, you know, all the OBs and just the layouts and all that.
Yeah. Do you feel like that is going to kind of be the answer to some better finishes? You know, we kind of saw Eagle McMahon take a little bit different approach last year where he played fewer events with the goal of, you know, finishing really well at the events that he was playing. But for you, do you feel like it's more just putting in the practice versus trying to limit your events?
Yes and no. I'm still going to be playing around 15 events, which I think is a good number for me. I think back 2012, 2013, I was kind of a road warrior. 2013, 2014, I played 30 plus events and I, you know, loved it. But I kind of got burnt out and I started to find that, like, you know, that number of 15 to 20 events is more up my alley, or else I'm going to get burnt out there.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, getting there early, practicing the holes more, and just, you know, picking and choosing the big events that I want to play, knowing that, you know, I might play better at this event than I have in the past at this other event. So I'm going to choose my events wisely. So hopefully I can get some better finishes that way.
Nice. So outside of disc golf, what are some things that you enjoy doing?
Anything that's outside. I love fishing. I love hiking, biking, going to the beach, anything outside.
Chopping down some trees.
Sure.
So obviously you're a part of TeamLefty. Do you feel like being a lefty on these courses kind of gives you an advantage, or would you say it's more of a disadvantage?
It's definitely both. I think certain courses that set up for a lefty, obviously that's an advantage for me. But I think there's probably more disadvantages than advantages. And I say that because when you play a lefty hole, there's usually a pretty easy route for a righty, whether it's a turnover or there's some crazy hyzer route that Simon and all those guys are going to throw. But when it's the other way around, when it's more of a righty hole, there's usually, I mean, sometimes there's, okay, it's a semi-easy turnover, or, they did give us this tiny little gap on the left for the lefty hyzers, but most of the time it's the disadvantages are magnified. Like a lot of times I'll be throwing a turnover into a banked hill with OB on the left, and I have to land it perfectly, and then there's OB on the bottom of that hill, and it's like, if you don't have a sidearm or a roller, you're going to be in trouble. And so that's kind of burned me over the years, but I'm really starting to work on a lefty sidearm now. That's, nice. Not really ready for, big 350-foot shots yet, but hopefully soon.
Yeah. And I know kind of one thing we had talked about before too is kind of getting a read on the line. So when you got 3 righties on your card and you're the only lefty, the righties are, if there's any wind, the righties are kind of getting a read off of each other versus you're really, paving your own way on a lot of holes, and especially, some difficult holes that can really make a difference. Oh,
definitely. Especially when it gets, like you say, when it gets really windy. If it's, left to right or right to left, the righties, I'm usually on a card with 3 righties, or 4 if it's a 5-7. They're all getting the reads off each other. One guy throws and the disc goes way left or way right or whatever, and 3 guys get to throw that shot, and then I step up. I'm like, all right, well, let's see how it does for me when the disc is spinning the other way. So yeah, it definitely helps when I get on a card with another lefty. It's almost a blessing.
Yeah, you guys can kind of feed off of each other a little bit.
For sure.
Nice. Well, this is our midway point for our interview, so we have a giveaway to do, and I have this really nice swirly Buzzz SS, a little bit in honor of the awesome Buzzz SS video that you had done throwing down a road, I think it was. Just really nice green orange with the pink flower foil, really pops on there. Max weight, joke, pun intended. Really cool disc. So to get this disc, we want you to comment the toughest lefty hole that you can think of, whether it's a pro tour hole or your local course, whatever the toughest lefty hole is that you have seen or played. And we'll try and get Max in here as a official lefty to pick out the winner on what he thinks is also the toughest lefty hole.
Cool. Can I comment?
Oh yeah. We definitely encourage you to get in the comments there.
I'm gonna go in and leave like 100 comments.
Note for TDs. So we saw your Discraft announcement video, which was, I think, one of my more favorite videos. I definitely watched it several times just because I really enjoyed it. I got the motivational speaker in there and kind of some clips of part of your training and what you go through when you're doing some field work. So as a fan of that video and of disc golf, how do you keep yourself motivated?
Definitely listening to those speeches. Almost every day I'm listening to them, and kind of really like pumps you up to just get out there and practice, even if you're not feeling it. You guys can search him up. His name's Jarrett Grossman. He's the one who's doing the speech in the video I put out, and the guy's incredible. He's super motivating. He has hundreds of videos on YouTube, and whenever I'm feeling like, I don't want to practice today or whatever, I'll turn them on right away, and now it's like moments later I'm amped up and ready to get out there and work. Another thing that I do is just competing with myself. I like to think of it as, there's always 2 voices going on in my mind. One voice is, the more popular voice saying, you don't need to work today, or, slow down on your run because you're feeling it or whatever. And then there's that other voice that's, they're saying you can do it, like you can make it. And, if you listen to the good voice, then it's a lot easier for me to get out there. So I like that analogy, to think of it that way. And I like turning the knob of the bad voice down and then the knob of the good voice up. I don't know if that makes sense, but
Yeah.
it does in my mind.
Yeah, it keeps you motivated, keeps you positive, and keeps you pushing sometimes when it's tough to.
Mm-hmm.
So obviously making the switch over to Discraft this year, can you kind of give us a little preview of what some of the staples are in your bag?
Yeah, I'm throwing a lot of buzzes, a lot of nukes. I'm really liking the Mantis. When my first impression of the Mantis when I held it in my hand was just, oh, it's, you know, just a fairway driver. I'll throw it for straight shots and whatnot. But once I started throwing it, I realized that this disc goes so much further than any other fairway driver I've ever thrown. So that's been like that's like a surprise for me, really. It was going to be in my bag. I knew it was just by, you know, what people said about it and just how it felt in my hand. But after throwing it, I was just blown away. So the Mantis, I'm liking the Crank. ESP's a good one. And Nuke, ESP Nukes, they're going really, really far. Probably the furthest flying disc I've ever thrown.
Nice.
So I'm looking forward to getting a little more distance this year.
Nice. Yeah, we kind of heard Paul, at least in his Jomez video, talk just about the speed of the nuke out of his hand and just, you know, the velocity he was getting on those when he was testing them. And it seems like he's gravitating more towards the force a little bit, but definitely worth noting that nukes are fast, and if you can control them and it, you know, fits your arm speed, it seems like a lot of the people that are switching over are really loving the extra distance they're getting with the nukes. So we saw you finish in a tie for 5th place, which is a pretty big A tier beginning of the year. Is there kind of a weight that gets lifted off of your shoulder, you know, after making a big switch with your bag to a new manufacturer, and then to come out, you know, first tournament of the year and a pretty big one, and really get a solid result?
I wouldn't necessarily call it a weight that was lifted off my shoulders. It was more of like an assuring feeling. And I say that because, you know, I was fairly confident going in to the tournament and just confident making, you know, the switch. But yeah, I mean, it was very assuring to go out there and know that, okay, like I can still compete, you know, getting 5th at an A tier. Obviously it's not my best finish. I would definitely would like to win.
Yeah.
But no, it was an assuring feeling for sure. And, you know, I'm confident moving forward that I'll get some better finishes.
Nice. We got the 2019 tour season is coming up here pretty quickly, and it looks like we're going to see you at the Las Vegas Challenge. So what are you looking forward to most with the season finally kicking into gear here a little bit?
Just getting out there, just competing. I'm driven by competition, which, you know, is sometimes a bad thing, but that's what drives me. I mean, I love competing. I'm very competitive. So just getting out there and just playing another tournament against the best that the sport has to offer, and that's what's been motivating me coming up for Las Vegas, and I'm really excited to get out there.
Nice. Kind of thoughts on the courses? Set up well for a lefty or pretty neutral?
I think it's fairly neutral. I only played the new Wild Horse in 2017, so I've only played it once, and there's 3 different courses, which I'm not a huge fan of. I would prefer that it'd be 2, or even 1 would be even better in my opinion. But I remember that a lot of the holes being really long, like long, I call them tweeners, long tweener par 3s, where, you know, the big arms are getting over the green and getting their putts for a 2, and me and most of the field are laying up short and then pitching over for an easy 3. But as far as lefty righty goes, I can't remember any like crazy hard lefty holes that, you know, might burn me.
Yeah. Is there another tournament that you're planning to play this year that you're really looking forward to, whether it's early season, late season?
Yes, always the USDGC. That's my goal in I joke it's my goal in all of life to win that tournament. But no, that the USDGC I look forward to every single year, even after the worst part about the USDGC is finishing, knowing that you have to wait an entire year to go out there again. And so that tournament's always on my mind. It literally crosses my mind every day, and I'm not just saying that. So the USDGC and also the Brent Hambrick this year. Love that tournament. It sets up nice for my game, and I almost won it last year. I was leading. It would have been my first A-tier win. I was leading for the entire tournament, going with like 3 holes left of the final 9, and then Chris Dickerson got me. Yeah, so that was, that's hitting hard for me, but Chris played great. So, and he's a great player. Yeah. So I'm looking to go back there and hopefully win that one this year.
Nice. Awesome. Well, that was our last question. So we are going to get into my favorite part of the interviews, and I know a lot of other people's favorite part as well, with the rapid fires. It's a pretty quick thought if you need to, but otherwise we're going to truck right on through these.
Okay.
All right. First one, favorite sports quote.
Winning isn't everything, it's the only thing.
The only thing. Favorite song to listen to before a round.
Not Afraid by Eminem.
Like it. One word that describes Max Nichols.
Southpaw.
Southpaw. Is Monopoly a game you play with your friends or with your enemies?
Both.
Fair answer. Favorite Discraft disc right now?
The Banger GT.
Oh, surprise one. 5 nickels or 1 quarter?
5 nickels, because there's 5 nickels in my family, not counting my wife.
Oh, no way. That's funny. That was not planned. Favorite city outside of your hometown?
Gilbert, Arizona.
Nice. You have $10,000 that you have to gamble on. Who are you putting it on? The Yulee brothers or the Macbeth brothers?
Oh gosh, the Yulee brothers. Only because I've seen Pete play and obviously Paul, but I've never seen Macbeth's brother play. So
John, yeah,
got to go with Yulee on this one.
I saw John updated his PDGA or renewed his PDGA. I think he's 924 rated or something. So
okay, so rating wise, Ulibarri is dominating.
Yep. But Paul.
Right.
Number of top 5 finishes in A tiers or higher this year?
7.
7. I like it. And favorite Discraft Pro, current or past?
Brad Schick.
Brad Schick. Everybody loves Brad Schick. He's so nice.
I know.
He's been doing it for a long time too. He's a great guy. I haven't got a chance to meet him yet, but I hope to.
You should bring him on. Bring him on an underground interview.
Oh, there we go. Call out for Brad Schick. I'll get in touch with him. Awesome. Well, that is all of our rapid fires. So I just want to say thanks to you, Max, for joining us for another underground interview. Any last words that you want to say to anybody at home or that's helped you along the way?
Yeah, I just want to thank my family, thank my wife for being so supportive. Thanks to Paul Ulibarri and Bob Julio for reaching out and wanting me on the team. Very grateful for that, and thank you, Wes and Patrick, for having me on.
Absolutely.
Thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, make sure that you hit the subscribe button by turning on that notification bell. Also, if you're a fan of 90s bands and you haven't had a chance to check out my newest video with Ben Calloway, the surprise bag check, yeah, make sure you check that out. I think Wes forgot to say it here, but most important thing, guys, make that putt.